Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I am Meg, and today is the Ugly Duckling Challenge. This is the second Ugly Duckling Challenge that I have participated in, and it's so much fun, and I cannot wait to show you what I did for my Ugly Duckling Challenge. The host for this challenge is Cory from Desert DIY. Check out her page, her channel, her Instagram page. Her channel is awesome. She's got some great makeovers and videos, so check that out. I will put her link in my description along with the playlist with all of the videos where everybody participated for this challenge will all be in the playlist. So you can check all that out in my description. So I have to say, this piece, as I will show you here, was very ugly when I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, and my friends agreed it was ugly. I had to get it because I could see the potential in it. When I got it home and cleaned it out, it looked amazing, and it wasn't an ugly duckling anymore, but I knew that I had to still do something with it to make it look much more better and more modern, because the style of it is a modern piece and I wanted it to have a new look. So although it wasn't very ugly when I got it back home and it looked really nice, I did give it a new look so that I could still be part of this challenge. So I hope that you enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to subscribe to Cory's channel as well, and everybody participating. It really helps us out. So enjoy this video. I hope you love it too. Okay, so here I am taking out of the truck. It wasn't a very heavy or big piece. I actually thought, looking at the pictures on Marketplace, that it was bigger, but it's not. It's quite cute, actually. It's a modern look. I love the MCM legs. I love this piece. Now, like I said, and I showed you, it looked really ugly in the picture, and I had a really hard time finding an ugly piece. And I thought this was ugly enough, but then when I got it home, cleaned it up, it just looks so nice. It does need a little bit of refreshing, like you can see here on the shelf. And the two shelves that go in it also needed a bit of help as well. I love the brass hardware. I definitely kept those. The inside was great too. It just needed a bit of a makeover, and I wanted to try and keep as much of the wood surface as I could. So I decided that I was going to keep the original hardware, definitely a must, and I also kept the top inside and the bottom inside cupboards all wood, and the shelves as well. I was going for a look where I wanted to show as much wood as I could, but also give it a new modern look. So this hardware is beautiful. It's quite heavy and real brass. So I cleaned the entire piece first with Crud Cutter, making sure that all the areas were clean, because on the sides I did notice there was a couple of sticky drips, and so I cleaned all of those off. It's really important to clean your furniture before painting and priming, because you don't want that gunk to come through on your primer and paint. And you want a really nice smooth surface as well. Otherwise your primer and paint will not adhere properly. So once I had cleaned the entire piece, I started to scuff sand. And I had mentioned in my last week's video about scuff sanding that I've been asked quite often lately, what does scuff sanding mean? Scuff sanding is where you are just removing the previous top surface, the shiny surface that you don't want on there, because you want your paint and primer to adhere properly. Scuff sanding also takes off some gunk as well, and any previous dirt. And I used a 320 sanding disc, and I went very, very lightly. You don't want anything below 220 because you don't want it to scratch the surface and show through your primer and paint. Once I had scuff sanded the entire piece, I went over it with the crud cutter again and a cloth, just to get all of the dirt and sanding dust off. You want to be able to see a dull finish. After I had cleaned that, I took some newspaper from my recycling bin and covered up the glass panels. I really took some time and care with covering them up because I did not want any paint or primer or top coat on the glass. I wanted to be really careful with it, making sure that the edges had a really clean finish. You can also use junk mail or flyers, anything that you have that could cover up the glass panel. And I only did the outside because I'm leaving the inside wood. When you scuff sand, make sure that you scuff sand the edges around the glass, because those areas can sometimes peel with your paint or primer if you haven't scuff sanded properly. So I got both panels covered up, as you saw there, and then I started to roll on the primer. And then I realized, oh, the hinges. So I don't usually cover up or take off the hinges, but because I had brass hardware for this piece, I wanted the hinges to match and I wanted them to be the original look and not painted on. So I got some green tape and just covered them up perfectly. It worked out really well this way. I think I'll be doing this from now on. So I rolled on the primer, and I will tell you this, I did not like it. I do not like rolling primer on. I gave that up right away and filtered the primer through my sprayer and started spraying. It was so much easier and so much, just so much better. And I used the bin in gray because I'm using a darker blue. I do prefer Kiltz Restoration primer, but because I had bin 123 gray left over, I need to use it up. But you can tint the Kiltz Restoration primer to gray. I think you can actually tint it to black as well, but you'd have to ask your local hardware store. Another tip I have learned if you are selling furniture and your customer, I have a care card for my customers on how to take care of their painted pieces. The number one thing I've noticed is people use Swiffer wipers. I think they're Swiffer dusters. Try not to use those because they actually, the handle on the Swiffer handle actually scrapes the paint around the glass panels. That's why I said make sure you scuff them really well. And I've actually put in my care card not to use those Swiffer dusters or chemicals when cleaning it. So I'm just spraying the gray primer on the entire piece. I only did 2 coats of the primer and then scuff sanded in between coats. I noticed this primer actually gave it a smooth, glossy finish, and I just scuff sanded with 400 grit. And then it was time to paint. So this color is House and Canvas, called Industrial Blue. I actually thought that the blue was going to be much darker, but it turned out to be a little lighter, which I still liked, and it went really well with the wood grain inside the cabinet. House and Canvas is a bit thinner paint than I'm used to, and so I just added a little bit of water to it, not too much because you don't want it to splatter. It does look darker in this video, but it is a lighter blue. You'll see at the very end. So I did 2 to 3 coats of the blue, And then I sprayed the top coat on, and the top coat is Country Chic Paint's clear coat. I also covered the doors and the drawer, where the drawer was as well, as you saw there. And the reason being is because I wanted to add this stencil and have the wood show through. So I took off the plastic on the doors and placed this stencil on it. And this stencil is called ModernDeco. And it's perfect design for this piece. I used my roller just to roll on the paint and then took off the transfer, or the stencil I should say. And that's what it looked like. I took a bit of gel stain. I scuff sanded the mark that was inside the cabinet first, and then I went over it with some gel stain just to freshen the wood up, and it worked out really well. I also did that to the shelves, and they look brand new. I had unfortunately forgotten to videotape that. And you know I love my tissue paper if you've watched my videos before, and this design and colors matched this piece perfectly. I mean, look at the blues in it. Perfect. So I took my steamer, my handheld steamer, and just steamed the paper to take out all of the lines and the wrinkles. And it works amazingly. I decided to put the paper inside the drawer and brushed on clear coat on the bottom, and then placed the paper on top, and then I brushed the clear coat on top of the paper again to seal it. And it does dry hard and cures. And that is it, and here's what it looks like. I put the hardware back on and the drawer back in. And as you can see, I kept all of the wood inside and the legs and the drawer and the inside. And you can see some wood showing through on the stencil. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I love it, and I love how the paper looks inside. I love it. It just turned out great, and I think that it now looks beautiful. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to Cory for hosting this challenge. It was so much fun, and I hope that you will be able to see the playlist in my description of everybody's video. Thank you again, and I will see you next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like and comment on this video. Take care.